Smart 24, driving business.
Good evening and welcome along to Business Today. I'm Joram Ssonko with Winnie Nakaochi on Sign Language, here to give you what is making headlines in your daily report. Now, kickstarting it off with the Japan-Uganda relations, as the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Fukuzawa Hidemoto, and the government of Uganda has signed grant assistance agreement totaling up to 327 million Ugandan shillings. This money, according to Diana Twine, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, will assist in the construction of a new neonatal critical care unit at Bwera Hospital in Kasese District. We have more in this report.
Bwera Hospital started its operations in 1998 as a 10-bed capacity general hospital. Over the years, with the increasing population, the hospital now has 145 beds, but even with these beds, some patients are still managed on the floor. It's on this basis that the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Fukuzawa Hidemoto, and the government of Uganda signed a grant assistance for grassroots human security projects totaling to 327 million Uganda shillings with Baylor College of Medicine Children's Foundation Uganda for the construction of a new neonatal critical care unit at Bwera Hospital in Kasese District to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths.
Today we are here at Japanese embassy to receive and to sign the grant that is going to support Bwera receive additional infrastructure to support neonatal services. It doesn't mean that they were not serving. You heard the medical superintendent was talking about that just in the last 1 year they took care of over 700 neonatal babies that required extra care.
This project we received on application basis. We receive out more than 400, 500 applications every year from all of Uganda, north, west, east, everywhere. And from this, it's the selection process. It's basically in the areas of education, primary school, secondary schools, health centers, hospitals.
According to Dr. Mary Munyagwa, Bwera Hospital Medical Superintendent, there is a challenge of limited space, sometimes babies sharing the same beds, and incubators increasing risks of infections leading to their deaths. She therefore emotionally appreciated the award of grant by the Japanese government.
Once again, allow me to say, Miss Your Excellency, sir, on behalf of Bwera Hospital, Kasese District, and the entire department in Kasese of Health, thank you so much for the gift that you are giving to us. Please convey our gratitude to the Japanese people and community that Kasese District will forever remember them for this, because our children are going to be better children, and we know that those children will be better leaders because of what you're doing today.
I'm looking forward to seeing this project of Bwera neonatal intensive care unit made functional. At the end of it, we shall celebrate.
According to Baila Uganda, the program's implementers, building this facility will take a year, and I asked them how safe is this grant from the embezzlement.
Baila Uganda has a track record of managing donor resources. We are a local indigenous organization with a track record of implementing high-quality integrated services, and the construction work is going to start immediately. We've already, recruited a farm, a local farm, that is going to lead these operations, and the period is 1 year. We've given the farm 1 year to complete this activity.
All these will be aimed at improved quality of care and outcome for newborn babies with complications after birth. The completion of the neonatal critical care unit will immediately end the referral of newborn babies from Kasese District to Fort Portal, which in some cases results in their death before or upon arriving.
So by having the services in the hospital, it means that mothers, especially that will deliver the children who are not at term, that normally die because of hypothermia or the low temperature because of low birth weight, they will be saved.
Bwera Hospital is the only public hospital in Kasese District. The hospital records show that 20% of the newborn babies suffer from neonatal conditions, including prematurity. The construction of the new neonatal intensive care unit, including neonatal care recovery room, incubator room, isolation room, kangaroo care room, and doctor's office at Bwera Hospital will improve the neonatal care environment in the district, thus contribute to reducing the neonatal mortality rate. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now we look at strengthening vanilla's value chain. As one of the strategic high-value commodities that the ministry is pushing is vanilla, which is produced in Uganda and is rated 7th among the world's vanilla-producing nations. It has a tremendous chance of lifting farmers out of poverty and moving them towards a middle-income status, which is what the Ugandan government aims for with its Vision 2040. The government is contributing and collaborating with partners to increase vanilla output. We have more in this report.
Since vanilla sells at a far higher farm gate price than any other commercial crop grown in Uganda, it has demonstrated to be a sustainable and profitable crop for the farmers. For instance, the farm gate price per kilogram last season varied from 30,000 to 50,000 Uganda shillings. If this price holds, a farmer might make nearly $40,000 million per year. This demonstrates that the most valuable crop for Uganda is still the vanilla industry.
About over 600 metric tons per year. And we export almost all of it. Almost all of it is exported. Local consumption is there, but almost negligible. And local consumption is mainly the under quality. Otherwise, the main market is out of the country. Of course, this being a high value crop, that's quite an amount.
Government and the private sector are collaborating to guarantee vanilla products as lucrative. The USA, Canada, and EU nations are Uganda's top export markets for vanilla. These markets have a clear market criteria and are very quality sensitive. All parties involved in the vanilla sector must work hard to meet the market requirements.
As Vanex, we are working with our members to ensure that we streamline the processes and we work with our members, the exporters, the vanilla exporters, to streamline the processes, to see that the vanilla industry grows. We are working hand in hand with MAIF to ensure that we have a legal framework that guides the production and also the export of this crop. We are also working hand in hand with our development partners like CRS. We also have other partners of sustainable vanilla initiatives who are working on the other side of the market.
Honorable Bwino Fred Chakulaga emphasized on government's initiative to transform vanilla production into more production for export. This was in regards to the government's aim of generating more revenue and supporting vanilla farmers.
Has a mandate to provide an enabling environment that facilitates competitiveness of the agriculture sector, and the ministry has a mission to transform the sector from subsistence farming to commercial farming. Vanilla is one of the strategic commodities that the government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, is promoting under the third National Development Plan.
The global market for vanilla increased from $1.5 billion in 2014 to $2.3 billion in 2021, representing a 1.7 annual growth rate. On the plus side, this trend is anticipated to increase by 5.17% annually during the course of the following 5 years, 2022 to 2027, as a result of rising consumer demand for natural vanillin flavor, which can only be obtained from vanilla beans. Vanilla is created as a spice for food, beverages, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical uses according to the vanilla value chain development. It is extremely well liked with flavored beverages, dairy products like ice cream, yogurt, and sweets like cakes and cookies. Subsistence farmers are expanding their production of vanilla, which will help the government increase exports. Martha Nimsima, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, in a bid to accelerate electricity supply in the country, the Minister of Energy with other partners, including Electricity Regulatory and Uganda Development Bank, have implemented a hybrid mechanism targeting no-pole customer connections. Ugandans can now make a down payment of 200,000 Ugandan shillings and get connected to electricity. Rana Nahabwe was at this particular event, and this is what she gathered for us.
The government of Uganda has launched a credit connection scheme. It's an offer extended to Ugandans who want to connect to electricity, but they have been inhibited by the cost of initial connections of 720 something for a no-pole connection. So today what has happened is government has partnered with development partners and the Uganda Development Bank. UDB is putting in money. That means that any customer who has got a pole close to them can pay 200,000, and then the rest of the money is going to be paid by UDB. The rest of the money is going to be put there by government of Uganda as a subsidy. And the money that has been put there for you by UDB, which is 270,000, will be recovered from you over a period of 8 years. Ideally, that's a lot of time. They could even be recovering like single every turn per month or per payment that you put there. So basically, that's what's happening here, to make sure that Ugandans can access electricity without inhibition.
Despite the fact that the Energy Access Scalar project resource mobilization is still ongoing, some households cannot wait because of their urgent demands and the affordability of approximately 720,883 right away. To close this gap, the Energy Minister has urged people to take the advantage of this framework, pay a down payment of approximately 200,000 shillings, that is from the 720,883 shillings. This is in a bid to connect to power because this framework is based on the 2020 no-pole connection approved by the Electricity Regulatory Authority.
There is no interest at all. It is 270, which you are going to pay over 8 years, but not in big, amounts, which will again become a problem to you, because we are trying to simplify. This hybrid is trying to simplify, and without encouraging you to abdicate your duty. It is your responsibility to get connected. So government has reduced, has even offered a subsidy of 200, and even on that loan of 270, the interest accrued, government is bearing that.
According to Patricia Ojangole, the managing director of Uganda Development Bank, the bank is aware of both the low levels of access to power and the high connection charges in the nation. In order to promote the hybrid electricity customer connection credit framework, which aims to improve electricity access, they have stepped up to work with participants in the energy sector. And this is done by providing a funding for end user customers to obtain an energy connection with a goal of reaching 550,000 Ugandans in a period of 5 years.
The program should be able to support SMEs as well. Cottage industry work the same. So the arrangement with SMEs, just like you had. For other energy needs, I think the minister has also explained, and I think it's really up to the energy sector to different initiatives that are meant to access or affordable. I think the number of programs government.
One of the primary barriers to families connecting to the nation's grid is the high cost of fast connection, and that is to say the connection cost. This is per a survey conducted by the Uganda Bureau of Statistics in 2019. Ronana Habwe, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now moving on, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation collects 519 billion shillings annually. With this particular report, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation collects more than 519 billion shillings annually in form of revenue from the public. This has been reached upon the review of the annual performance of the National Water and Sewerage Corporation under the Ministry of Water and Environment. We have more details in this report.
The National Water and Sewage Corporation was established in 1972, making 50 years since then. At the time it began, just 3 towns benefited, but as for now, over 264 towns and over 800 consumers have reaped the benefits, totaling 18 million Ugandans. According to the Managing Director of Kampala, Engineer Mohamed Lutaya, a lot has been accomplished during the past 50 years.
So since establishment, there's definitely been a lot of a number of achievements. It's been a journey that we've walked as a corporation. We started with just 3 towns. By the time the national was set up, we were operating in Entebbe, in Kampala and Jinja, just 3 towns. So since then we've expanded, we've grown with the objective of serving more Ugandans. Right now we have almost 264 towns that we serve. The number of customers have equally grown. We had just a few connections during the beginning. Right now we are over 800 customers that are connected to our systems. The population we serve also has tremendously grown. We are now talking about 18 million Ugandans that we are serving. Our staff complements the number of people that we employ as an organization has also significantly grown. Right now we're over 4,000 staff that we have.
The world is becoming more digital, and the National Water and Sewage Corporation is following the suit. The National Water and Sewage Corporation started by introducing the e-water payment 20 years ago with a goal of easing services for the customers. As the technology advances, the e-bill was recently introduced and is now improving the performance of the company, which was a result of the COVID-19 effect.
So, like I mentioned earlier, one of our key focus is to create convenience to our customers and also to keep up with the trends in the world. National has been leading the digital agenda. I think we are the first institution to phase out physical collection of bills. We went with the online payment options almost 20 years ago. So recently we realized again it was respond to the needs of our customers. From COVID, there were so many lessons that we learned that even a physical bill came with a number of risks to our customers. I think we reached a point where customers were telling us they didn't want to touch our bills because they were risk to them. So with those lessons that we learned from COVID and also keeping in touch with the trends across the world, we've also tried to make sure that we phase out, again, in a very transitional way, we phase out the physical bills that have been delivered to our customers. Right now, a person can happily receive their bills every month on their phone. Yeah? And once you get the phone, it comes in form of, we try to accommodate all ranges of customers. Not everyone might have a smartphone. So even these bills are coming in form of what? Text messages on SMS. You're able to receive that message. Now if you're connected to the internet and you click on that message, then you can get the full bill the way you used to get it. But so capturing all customers' emails. So some customers are able to receive their bills through mails. Now also we're allowing customers a platform. If you want your bill anytime, you can visit any of our website and still be able to access it from there.
The corporation collects 519 billion shillings annually, and as a result of e-water payment at a monthly basis, over 45 billion is collected.
I think when we started, our income was less than $1 billion as a corporation for the 3 towns. Right now we're doing, over every year, we're doing 519 billion. That's how much we do as a corporation, and we have all the intention to make sure that we continue growing this as we move forward, as we connect more customers, as we grow the business. We should have this figure continuously growing.
If all problems are resolved and the rules governing performance are followed, the corporation anticipates a rise in revenue. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now let's look at the online car scammers, as consumers have been cautioned to be vigilant of frauds while purchasing cars online after an investigative report revealed that the surge in car fraud instances, according to reports, that there were approximately 3,000 occurrences of online automobile fraud detected in 2021 alone, with a 21.4% increase from 2019. Dealers have also cautioned that scams may arise as a result of customers turning to the internet more frequently due to the alluring prices they see there. We have more in this report.
Scammers have actually been quite a thorn in the side of our business because they tend to exploit the ignorance of customers to dupe them into transactions that do not exist. Be mindful that a motor vehicle purchase, it's not a small amount of money. It is usually a good sum of money. So the instances we've had before, what we've seen is they usually create websites, which we can dub as fake websites. And what they do is that they've designed their websites to look similar to ours. And they have copied the processes that we have internally in terms of the purchase process, such that you as an unsuspecting customer are easily duped. The way they do it is they will show you pictures and attract you, maybe by giving you extremely unreasonable discounts. By unreasonable, I mean it is a lot. But what are they doing? They are doing this to attract you into the sale.
There are common red flags that any buyer has been advised to keenly look at, and mostly the purchase price.
Like for instance, the pricing. Yeah, the pricing can put a red flag to show that something is not right somewhere, because when you look at most of the websites that are used by these scammers, they fabricate their prices to attract the prospective buyers.
Therefore, Ugandans have been urged to always consider using country offices as well to clarify the information that they got on the websites, and also to be able to trace back in case anything unfortunate happens.
The customers out there, the car buyers out there, most especially these people who buy cars online, you should always be very careful when it comes to pricing. You compare the prices to know like there's a minimum price for every car. I'm pretty sure of that, because you cannot tell me you're selling to me a Toyota. Let me pick an example. Like, you cannot tell me you're selling me a Toyota Land Cruiser, maybe let's say a 2014 model at say $10,000 yet in actual sense the car costs around $30,000. So that is unrealistic. Yeah, my appeal to the car buyers out there is that you should always be very, very careful, clarify every detail that you're doing on the website, check word by word to ensure that the spellings are correct, and also to ensure that you're using the right platform where you're getting your cars from.
Just like any other businesses, the car bond industry often has some of the highest yields around the holiday times like Christmas. But according to Ayebali, this time is different.
So generally, it's not been as we expected, majorly because of the adverse effects of COVID and then also the world recession that's now going on. The marketplace is dry. The customers are not coming in. It's Christmas and we have some slight trickles. I think the thing that we're receiving the most right now is rain, but not as many customers. So it's still tough at this point in time. But like with every business, we are optimistic for greater opportunities ahead.
Additionally to online scams, there are local dealers who run their businesses out of their homes. The key to avoiding local fraud is having a basic understanding of the paperwork to ascertain a car. Monica Nabionga, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Smart 24 TV as we return with more Business Today.
Smart 24, driving business.
The taste of Uganda in a new international park.
Mukwano?
Yes?
I need you to help me watch the kids. I'm going to pay school fees.
I've finished.
Excuse me.
Relax. Sit down, watch TV. I've already paid.
No stress. Whether night or day to the okay.
Don't hustle to pay bills or send money. Chikole for less. Ne flexi pay. Hold it.
Chikole for less with FlexiPay. Dial *291# to transact or download the FlexiPay app to get started. Stanbic Bank. It can be. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, up to 10 million shillings.
Smart 24, driving business.
From the break, let's continue with more business today. As now we look at the investment in West Nile. The West Nile region has enormous potential for economic growth, but it will require preparation, money, and work. The government, however, only makes the barest improvements to people's lives. As a result, non-government organizations and private companies are taking the initiative to develop infrastructure and spur this growth. Therefore, in the first ever West Nile Quality Branding Award ceremony attended by Honorable Kwichi Chuni, over 65 enterprises have been honored for fostering economic development in the area. We have more in this report.
Honorable Grace Kwichi, Minister of State for Northern Uganda, has praised investors who made it easier for businesses to operate in the West Nile region. Previously, most people considered it to be a desolate, pointless environment that should be avoided. She advised business owners to boost their investments because the area is now a nexus connecting South Sudan and Uganda.
This award means a lot for us. It means West Nile has appreciated. But it also means this is a challenge because it means we should be doing better and much more than what we have tried to do. So we are going to pull up our socks. We are going to put in more effort. We are going to light up the region, as it were our motto. Our motto is to light up the region. There's so much potentials in West Nile.
Considering the investments made in agriculture, tourism, education and hunger control, the president of the West Nile Quality Branding Awards expressed his gratitude for the region's steady growth over the years. The importance of high-quality output as a critical element of efficient service delivery was emphasized.
Bottom line, our core value is quality. We are recognizing organizations so that there is competition that will bring out quality, so that people know that while doing your work, while giving product services to your clients, you must have that aspect of quality.
He also urges young people to get involved in technological practical projects that will change their communities. Where functional illiteracy is at an all-time high, only the highly trained can survive.
To act as a motivation to the young generation that the more work you do to develop a region is not noticed, but with us we want to notice that. And most importantly, the little things that you do out there that you think to you are little turn out to be a lot.
Vijay Sharma, the country director of Chandaria Group, a company that operates in West Nile and is involved in manufacturing, mining and real estate, encourages entrepreneurs to bring fresh ideas to their fields of activity as a crucial aspect of their professional responsibilities, using cutting-edge techniques to ensure high-quality service, education, and the discovery of new business knowledge.
I also believe that innovation and creativity brought you to this level. Please don't stop the good work you are doing. Today's world, business need to know how to generate new knowledge in order to meet the demand of the modern day workforce and client expectations.
With a promising economy and the added advantage of being close to a business hub in South Sudan, West Nile is one of Uganda's fastest growing regions. Among the well-known companies are Crystal Medical, Moyo Cooperatives, Rock Global Oil, Uganda Christian University, and the International University of East Africa. Margaret Nachiganda, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now, besides that, let's look at the East African Community trade constraints. As implementation of the East African Common Market started on 1st July 2010, with the overall objective of establishing the Common Market as an integral part of the community to widen and deepen cooperation among the partner states. However, there are several constraints affecting trade among these states, limiting a competitive environment for businesses across the East African Community region, and then other trade blocks within. Let's have more in this report.
Regional trade integration is a cornerstone of East African Community Partner States' trade policies. This involves strengthening of public institutions and private sector organizations involved in export promotion. However, benefiting from integration and free market access arrangements faces certain challenges, including insecurity, inadequate access to productive resources, supply-side constraints, poor physical infrastructure, weak institutional framework, low public expenditure, and prevalence of non-tariff barriers.
The region has already reached the level of what we call a common market, where we expect free movement of goods and free movement of people without any hindrances. And the expectation was that our goods will move from Uganda to Kenya, from Tanzania to Uganda, from Kenya to Uganda, free, without actually being hindered at all. But what we have seen happening over the last years is the introduction of what we call non-tariff barriers. Things like making requirements for standards or health requirements that were not part of what is needed for free flow of goods and services. So this is hampers trade. For instance, like in Uganda's case, there is a time when we were trying to trade in a commodity and we were told, no, there is aflatoxins in your product, therefore it cannot come here.
Most of the East African community states are currently undertaking large-scale infrastructure projects such as standard gauge railways, oil and gas pipelines, and hydropower dams, setting and implementing harmonized regional standards, allowing for the free movement of services and improving telecommunication and broadband internet, because regional internet costs are high due to high fees and taxes.
Also to address the supply-related constraints, to ensure that supply in terms of volume is maintained, and that would, for example, rotate around establishment of what are called EPVs, export production villages. Those may more or less be a proxy to what we have had in the past, called the cooperatives.
In terms of transport, the proposal, especially from our side, is that the region should invest more in low-cost transport means. They should invest more in rail services so that there is interoperability of rail services. That is one. Secondly, where there is opportunity to use Lake Victoria, which connects at least 3 of our countries, we should use Lake Victoria so that we do have transport costs that are lower. That's crucial. Now, the second thing, in terms of cost of finance, we are encouraging our regional players, companies, and governments to try and make sure that they introduce policies that can make the cost of borrowing low.
Due to these limitations, the rural economy has been unable to increase employment and income, fulfill rising food demands brought on by urbanization and rapid population expansion, promote general economic growth, or conserve natural resources. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now, according to data from the Uganda National Labour Force Survey, 9.3 million youngsters, or at least 41% of the population, are not working in any kind of productive capacity. This has apparently prompted a group of Makerere University to organize a convention with the goal of altering research, creating job possibilities, and setting up a uniform circle to promote economic development through saving and borrowing. We have more in this report.
Youth unemployment remains a serious challenge to Uganda, which has forced government to recently concede that the level of the country's growth was not matching up with the job creation. The Makerere University convocation, created focusing on transforming research and innovations among students and alumni, create an employment opportunities bureau, digitizing the certification processes, as well as enhancing alumni welfare by boosting financial literacy through the creation of SACCOs and cooperatives, which are to be regulated by the Uganda Microfinance Support Center.
For the certification of processes of certificates and transcripts. What do I mean here? Today, if you want a certified transcript, you have to travel from wherever you are, whether it is Kabale, Arua, or outside the country, to come physically to the university to certify a transcript. We already know that there are other government agencies that have gone digital, like URA. When you want, for example, a clearing certificate, you don't need to go to URA itself. You need to just log into URA portal and they will send a tax clearance to the organization that wants it. So we want to do it.
For you to get a certified certificate or transcript, most times you are required to travel from wherever you are, regardless of where you are. You have to travel to Makerere University, present your original documents, and then they tell you to wait for 2 weeks for you to be able to receive the documents. So going forward, we want to operate like the Uganda Revenue Authority. Most times when they ask you for a tax clearance, they only send that tax clearance to whichever company is working for you. So we want to also create a situation where Makerere alumni do not have to travel to come to the center to pick their documentation. However, they will just be able to send the documents maybe to an email or to a portal, and then the portal can be able to transfer the same information to whichever interested party would be for your documents as an alumni. Of course, we know that very many of our alumni are struggling with getting job opportunities. But the funny bit is that we have very many alumni of Makerere University that are highly placed. Some of them are in the human resource platform, others are in the UN, others are in the different parastatals in the country. So we want to create an avenue where the convocation is going to be a bridge, to create like a pathway for all our alumni to be able to tap into these opportunities.
According to John Peter Okello, the chairperson for SACCOs under Makerere University, convocation in terms of development and welfare of Ugandans aims at establishing a SACCO focusing on economic development through saving and borrowing at a lower interest rate.
And we are looking at a SACCO as one of the vehicles of development for that category of people to buy the idea of the SACCO so that we can launch the SACCO, register, and then members start contributing, saving in such a way so that eventually they will borrow, and that will enhance their savings and also their borrowing. Since SACCOs, their interest rate is low compared to the banks.
The level of unemployment implies that much as government has put a lot of emphasis on industrialization so that many Ugandans can get employed in factories and industries, the rate at which people are getting employed remains drastically low. According to the university's Strategic Plan 2020-2030, titled Unlocking the Knowledge Hub, the Convocation Center is to contribute to the success of the plan. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV.
All right, now we look at the second National Inclusive Education Symposium, which will take place in Uganda in 2022 and the last 2 days. We'll explore topics relating to inclusive education for students with special needs and disabilities, where greater support is required in terms of money and resources used for deaf learners. The Senior Education Officer, Special Need Education from the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Panera Imana, reveals that the Cabinet is working on national inclusive policy to mitigate the challenges of accommodations. Samuel Kirimunda compiled this report.
Today, more than ever, businesses need people with a demonstrated ability to adapt to different situations and circumstances. In the workplace, this resourcefulness translates into innovative thinking and varied approaches to confronting business challenges and achieving success. What's more, research shows that consumers, both with and without disabilities, favor businesses that employ people with disabilities. But while research shows that a workplace inclusive of people with disabilities is good for business, not all employers understand how to foster one.
We are having a specific method on how to teach reading and literacy to deaf learners. We have, of course, I may not have the whole insight, but we have different methods like sandwiching, talk and chalk. We have, using pictures, real life situation, because for them they depend on seeing, observation. So they use also real pictures and the stories, as I showed you the book. They want to read the book, the stories, and stories have to be with many pictures.
In addition, she further says that there is a lack of fundings in the sectors, rather trying to cooperate with non-government organizations for supporting them in providing materials and other resources.
We don't direct go to the learner because ours is the curriculum we are developing is for the teacher to use. So it has to have accompaniment of those materials for the learners with special needs. So when others develop, for example, teacher's guide, for us we add another supplementary guide to the teacher's guide on how to use it with the learners with special needs.
According to Jock Patrick, specialist disability training at Chambuga University, highlighted some of the challenges that mostly affected with people with disabilities.
The key challenge here is when it comes to the practical component, whereby they have to use laboratories, carry out experiments, and so on. The experience has shown that in most cases, secondary schools have disadvantaged students with visual impairment when it comes to these science subjects, right from the teaching, the internal assessment, and the national assessment. And that means that they end up doing extremely poorly.
Meanwhile, speaking to a senior education officer, special need education from the Minister of Education and Sports, Dr. Panera Imana says that the cabinet is working on the national inclusive policy to solve all these challenges.
So the issue of excuses, once the national inclusive education policy is approved, the excuses will not be there, because everything is captured in the inclusive education policy about provision of reasonable accommodation, support personnel, ensuring accessibility of the environment, and making sure that teachers are available who are skilled in supporting children with special needs. So once the policy is approved, the issue of excuses will not be there, because the government will be able to support the policy, and working together with our partners. The partners will also be able to support, because when you look at the implementation strategy that is put in the inclusive education policy, it is a concerted effort. It's a multidisciplinary approach. It is not waiting that it's for Ministry of Education alone, but all ministries, interministerial, working together to ensure that children with special needs are supported and they support education for all.
No matter if someone works full-time, part-time, or it is probationary, employee reasonable adjustment must be made. Additionally, workers are free to request for accommodation at any time, verbally or through other means of communication. The story was compiled by Samuel Chirimunda and Pedson Mumbere for Smart 24 TV Business Today.
This is Business Today. Many thanks for being part of it tonight. I'm Joram Ssonko with Winnie Wins and Akochi on Sign Language. We've been coming to you live from Block 42, Nile Avenue in the heart of Kampala. Have a blessed night. Good evening.